moon hung low in the inky sky, casting an eerie silver glow over the dense forest. I shivered, not from the cold, but from the ominous feeling that had settled in the pit of my stomach. I had heard the stories, the ancient legends passed down through generations, warning of creatures that roamed these woods, creatures that were not quite human, yet not quite animal. They were called Skinwalkers, and tonight I would come face to face with one. My name is Ethan, and I have always been drawn to the mysteries of the unknown. I had heard tales of skinwalkers from the local Native American tribes, whispered in hushed tones around campfires. They spoke of shapeshifters, beings who could take on the appearance of any animal they desired. But their most disturbing ability was to steal the skin, the very essence of a human. It was a dare from my friends that had brought me to these dark woods on this fateful night. They didn't believe in the legends, and neither did I, until I saw it with my own eyes. As we trudged deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around us. The forest abruptly became eerily quiet. All the animals stopped making noise like they knew something we didn't. The air grew colder, and the unease I felt grew stronger. It felt like something was watching us. We arrived at a small clearing, and that's when I first saw it. At first, it looked like a wolf, its eyes gleaming with a malevolent intelligence. But as I stared, I realized there was something off. It stood upright on two legs, and its body was much too slender to be a full-grown wolf. It was a mockery of nature, a creature caught between two worlds. My heart raced. I couldn't move. My body was frozen in fear. The creature's eyes locked onto mine, and I felt a chill like no other. It wasn't just looking at me, it was seeing through me, into the very depths of my soul. I suddenly turned around so fast, I almost pulled my back, and I ran like there was no tomorrow. I heard my friends starting to run behind me. Our panicked footsteps echoed through the forest. But the creature was relentless, always keeping pace, never too far behind. It was like a shadow, always lurking just beyond the edge of our vision. We stumbled upon an abandoned cabin deep in the woods, and without a second thought, I slammed my whole body into the door, breaking the rusted lock. I had such speed I hit the back wall of the cabin, knocking what little breath I had left out of me. My friends rushed in after me and slammed the broken door shut and frantically started barricading the door with old furniture in the cabin. The air around me was so thick I could almost taste it. The cabin was dark and smelled of rot, but it was a sanctuary for the moment. As we huddled together, we heard the sounds of the forest outside. The wind carried the echoes of strange, otherworldly howls and cries. The Skinwalker was out there, taunting us, circling our refuge. We sat in complete silence for what felt like hours, and our fear only grew. We knew we couldn't stay in the cabin forever. We needed to find a way out of this nightmare. I whispered to my friends that we had to make a run for it, and they nodded, their faces pale with fear. We gathered our courage and slowly began to dismantle the barricade. The creaking of the wood sounded deafening in the stillness of the cabin. Once we had a small opening, I carefully pushed the door open, just a crack, and peeked outside. The bright moon casting an eerie glow on the clearing before the cabin. We couldn't see the Skinwalker, but we knew it was out there somewhere in the darkness. With heavy breaths, we slipped out of the cabin and tiptoed into the woods, making as little noise as possible. We were like phantoms in the night, moving silently through the forest. My heart sank. The sound of my friend stepping on a branch filled me with terror. Our cover was blown. Seconds later, A blood-curdling howl echoed through the trees. It was as if the very earth shook beneath us. The Skinwalker had heard us, and it was moving towards us. We ran as fast as our legs could carry us, the sound of the creature's pursuit growing louder and more menacing with each passing second. Branches and thorns clawed at us, but we didn't stop. We couldn't afford to. The forest seemed endless, and we were running out of breath and hope. By some miracle, we did not stumble and fall. Just when I thought we couldn't run any longer, we burst through the tree line and found ourselves on the edge of a cliff overlooking a churning river below. There was no way forward and no way back. The Skinwalker was closing in from behind, and there was nowhere left to run. I realized we were trapped, with no escape from the nightmare that had become our reality. The Skinwalker approached, its eyes fixed on us with a hunger that sent shivers down my spine. We were at the mercy of a creature that had no mercy. A creature that could wear the skin of a man, but would never know the soul of one. As the Skinwalker closed in, its grotesque laughter filling the air, panic surged through our veins. There was nowhere left to run, no place to hide. Our hearts pounded in our chests, and the chilling realization that this could be the end washed over us. We could see it approaching the tree line, but just when it seemed like all hope was lost, the distant sound of a car engine echoed through the night. The Skinwalker's attention wavered, its head turning toward the approaching vehicle. Its sinister laughter faded as it retreated into the darkness, disappearing among the trees. Relief washed over us as the car came closer. Its headlights cut through the night like a beacon of salvation. A random person had unwittingly saved us from a fate worse than death. There was an old dirt road not too far from where we had come out of the forest. We ran down the dirt road towards the car. The driver must have spotted us because the car was slowing down. I approached the driver, and he cracked the window down a bit. The driver was understandably on edge after seeing us run towards his car, but when he saw our deep cuts from running through the forest and our panicked faces, he let us ride in his old pickup truck. As the truck drove us to safety, we glanced back at the forest, the moonlight revealing nothing but the rustling leaves and the distant howl of a lonely wolf. The Skinwalker was gone. For now. I never thought I would be sharing this story with anyone, but I need to tell it. I need to get it out there, for my own sanity and for the safety of others. It happened a year ago, during a camping trip deep in the heart of the woods. My friends and I set out for a weekend of fun, completely unaware of the unspeakable terror that awaited us. Before I dive into the details, let me give you a bit of background about myself. I'm an avid camper and have spent countless nights in the wilderness. I've faced the elements, wildlife, and all manner of creepy forest noises, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened that night. We arrived at our campsite, nestled far from civilization. The trees loomed over us, creating an almost suffocating canopy. The wind whispered secrets, and the rustling leaves seemed to hide a sinister agenda. We set up our tents, gathered firewood, and settled around the crackling flames, reveling in the warmth of the fire. As the night deepened, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The forest felt alive with an unnatural energy, a dark presence that I couldn't quite put my finger on. My friends brushed off my unease as jitters, but I knew deep down that it was something more. The fire started to die down, and that's when we heard it, a distant and eerie sound that sent shivers down my spine. It was like a mournful wail, a twisted blend of animal and human, echoing through the woods. I looked at my friends who now shared the same fearful expression. But we still tried to reason with ourselves, blaming it on an animal, or maybe even a trick of the wind. We decided to call it a night and retreated into our tents, but sleep eluded me. I lay there in my sleeping bag, my heart racing, the haunting sound still echoing in my mind. Hours passed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us, waiting for us to drop our guard. Just as I was beginning to relax a little, I heard a noise, faint but unmistakable. The sound of footsteps outside my tent, slow, deliberate, and somehow wrong. I held my breath, praying it was one of my friends. But then I heard my friend's voice from the tent next to mine, whispering to someone else, wondering if they had heard it too. A terrible realization hit me like a freight train. Whatever was outside my tent was not one of us. I slowly unzipped the tent flap, peering out into the darkness. The night was ink black, and I couldn't see anything. My flashlight was the only source of light, and it revealed a sight that will haunt me forever. A tall, gaunt figure stood just beyond the reach of my flashlight's beam. Its eyes glowed like burning embers in the night. It had the shape of a human, but its skin was stretched, like it was wearing a grotesque mask. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized we were not alone. This was the Skinwalker. I retreated back into my tent, trembling with fear, and whispered to my friends about what I had seen. Panic set in as we realized the danger we were in. We had heard stories about skinwalkers before, but we had always thought they were just legends. The thing outside began to mimic our voices, a chilling parody of my friend's voice asking for help. It was trying to lure us out, to separate us from the safety of our tents. We refused to take the bait, clinging to each other in terror. The night seemed endless, and the Skinwalker continued its sinister games, taunting us with whispers and threats. With the first light of dawn, the creature finally retreated into the shadows, and we didn't waste a moment. We packed up our campsite and hiked back to our car, never looking back. We knew that we had narrowly escaped something malevolent that night, something that could have easily ended our lives. I'm sharing this story now to warn others. Skinwalkers are not just tales told around a campfire. They are real, and they are terrifying. Be cautious when venturing into the deep woods, and always trust your instincts. I survived that night, but I will never forget the gut-wrenching fear of encountering a skinwalker in the dark heart of the forest.